All right, welcome back. You're still on Breakfast Daily. If you're watching us on our streams, kindly use the hashtag Breakfast Daily for us to hear what you're saying and thinking. Share with us. The comments you can also send to us on our WhatsApp line 0550585832. Now, we brought you some conversations recently, a few days ago, on the Bagre Dam spillage, and we spoke to the NADMO Communications Director about what the plans were. At the point in time, flooding had begun, but not overtaking people's farms yet. Well, we have a report for you. Farmers are counting their losses. Let's take a look. We'll come back and we'll get into some conversations.
The annual spillage of the Bagre Dam on September 1, 2021 was to prevent the banks of the dam from breaking. However, few days after the spillage, hundreds of farmlands have been submerged by the flood waters, destroying different household crops, especially maize. The situation compelled some farmers to harvest their farm produce prematurely. But those whose farms have been submerged by the spilled waters have been sharing their frustration with Citi News.
Kuamna ponchen woma kama bon pompi no chen woma kama ama ko bora wu ba ta sara abul bangi ku na wu sahala da chen ka te ku kulenge ku marngi ji ku kulitana ko tana jan to
bango ko ba to ba tinda yuba hala ko santi ti lozo zo me da ti bihla chara ka digniya tinda den bubolla da ta pop masin da ki hala Kaya mana asam di puri, jika ada ni mana kani puri na, jam bola, tim bola to di bukan mana yuba bakula bahana, yuba bahana me, sangat lor so, di saya boleh kaya na, apa kabi bah, di kawan kerja.
The farmers appealed to government to support them with farm inputs and fertilizers to enable them undertake dry season farming to fend for their families.
Onyang bonna nyang bushil kate nyanti. Kanya songte mga kuira ponte ensam champache bole yi onna nyang bushil songte. Kata meng nambange weng la songte ka tebusula sira.
Ka gomla yine pote songa. Gomri di bote songa la yuya te ba nye bote ta malgare ka jong parme te bilim goma ya yang on da te se ma ka ko mana ti wala la ko tinga ta ba wen se ka biu me ka tuma sa yang no ko kana yang song te meng na esu ama to gomla ne yelwela la te ba ye malo pa be on e obote do ko matena la ka te bilim jong parme te bilim gomla ya yang ko songote ko on da bote ka ko matena ka la esu ma ko song kabate tiang engsum tita pa ka tong parma tene ka tene ka harman la ka te ka ko ba ko tinga ton ka de mi song be ton ka tene na nyene to me nyeteri.
Deputy Director General in charge of operations at the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Abu Ramadan, during an assessment of the situation said NADMO will immediately deploy boats along the White Volta to assist residents.
Finally, the Bagre Dam water itself is in Ghana now, and as you can see here, we passed there 3 days ago. It wasn't this high. So currently we're on our way to Galaka to see the situation there. Some communities there are almost getting close to submerging into water. So we're going to see what we can do so that quickly we can deploy the boats there to give support to people who want to cross. At this stage, our understanding is that most of the communities have finished harvest.
All right, so that's a report brought to us by a colleague from the Upper East region, Frederick Awuni, and he's on the line with us. Frederick, good morning.
Good morning, Kweku.
Yes, how are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you.
Very well, thank you. So we're looking at something that's a perennial event. It happens all the time. The Bagre Dam needs to be spilled because rain has fallen and the dam has filled up. And if it doesn't spill, it will break apart. So on the Burkina side, they've done their bit. Now, it seems to be affecting us every year. What are some of the conversations that you've had with various people, stakeholders, as well as duty bearers, for us to figure out a way around this? I mean, I know that Pualugu Dam is supposed to be the savior of this situation, but we are not there yet. So in the interim, what are some of the conversations that you've had that people are sharing their thoughts and ideas of how to solve this problem?
Well, so last year they spilled, and it's like every other year they spill.
Yeah.
In 2020, most of the farmers along the White Volta, and even the conversation, has regenerated again, that why is it the case that our authorities, the Ghanaian authorities and that of Burkina Faso, cannot negotiate in order that instead of killing the dam at a go, they seal it in base? Then they realize that the volumes could rise anytime soon and get to a peak where they have to spill at a go. That is one of the solutions some of the stakeholders, particularly the farmers, say.
Yeah.
We can use the diplomacy between the two countries.
Yeah.
The waters can be spilled in base so that the havoc that it comes with would reduce. Now, the other conversation is usually the rains don't come early. So instead of around April, this year the rains came in proper somewhere around June.
I see.
And the farming season spans from late April and ends somewhere around October, November. Now, if it comes May, sometime in June, then the research department or agencies, particularly Agri, will have to come out with some varieties that would serve two purposes. One, either drought-resistant varieties, or two, varieties that can withstand water, so that if the farmers go in for these varieties, they are able to mature before the spillage of the Bagre Dam. So we can have 2 months or 3 months maize varieties that would do well for these farmers along the White Volta. That also is something most of the farmers say research should help us address, the problem, so that before the spillage, we know this X variety or Y variety, when planted, would mature before the spillage, and so farmers will not be worried because at the time they'll be spilling the dam, they have harvested and they've moved to higher ground.
Okay, so the water was the dam was spilled around about a week ago.
So it was spilled on September 1, 2022.
Okay.
So today it's about 14 or
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, so 2 weeks down the list.
So usually, how long does it take for the waters to recede once it floods like this?
It depends on the spillage that, the volume of water they spill from Bagre. As of Monday, they were spilling around 9 million gallons of water per hour. So if you multiply that, that's per hour, they are spilling 9 million. So you multiply that by 12 hours, and it tells you the volume that is coming in.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy to ascertain whether or not.
I'm actually asking the question because I'm trying to figure out that if they decided to spill, let's say, maybe at half the rate that they're spilling, whether it makes a difference. I don't know. I mean, the engineers could tell us, but I'm not sure if that's the way around it. I'm also wondering that could we also not have our own interventions which we have control over, where it's like we move away from the banks so that we don't farm along the banks. I understand the logic is simple. Water is close to the banks, so you farm along the banks, you have access to water. How about creating irrigation plants, simple nothing complex, simple immigration plans that allow you to farm a couple of kilometers away from the bank and then tap water from the rivers into the farmlands. That way, when it floods and the rivers overflow, your crop are safe. I don't know if that has come up.
That idea was also espoused by some of the farmers, but this is the difficulty.
Okay.
The farmers told me that farming along the white water is much cheaper. It requires less fertilizer, and the soils there are more fertile than
it's richer,
on the higher ground. There you need a lot of fertilizer to be able to fertilize the soil, and then you can get the yield. So that is one thing.
Okay.
Two is also access to the farm, because these are farms that their great fathers, passed on to them, and getting land elsewhere could be difficult.
Okay.
But then they agreed that was it possible for government to intervene with a one village, one dam sort of, so that a cluster of villages, can have access to this dam facility, and then farm, just as you suggested, farm along that, and then it then addresses the point where they have to farm along the white water and move a bit higher, to where these dams are to farm. It is still an intervention they want government to consider going forward. But you know also that one of the cardinal solutions to this annual spillage is the multi-purpose dam project, which has stalled for some time now. The reason we don't know whether it's a cash inflow issue, or the contractor is just not willing to come to site and start work. That's the difficulty. But until that is really done, it would be difficult, to escape this annual spillage of our zone.
Hey, Frederick, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So my question for you, the farmers that we are talking about, on what scale do they farm? Is it still more or largely, for the most part, a subsistence thing, or are some of them doing large-scale farming that, has great implications for our bread basket?
It's a mix of the two. So there are those who are normal peasant farmers doing about 2 or 3 hectares of land. Others are doing as much as 5, some 10, some 15. Okay, so that is the difficulty. For those who are doing less, well, the impact may not be felt that much compared to those who are in large scale. Mind you, they also see it as a business venture, not just feeding the people, they're also making some substantial returns from that investment. So they are affected. One of the farmers even pointed out that about 5 hectares of his maize farm was gone to the waters, and it was really a big blow on him because of the investment he's made, and he's just not making anything from it.
Yeah, wow. All right, so we'll be talking to NADMO as well, but have you, what's NADMO saying as regards the interventions that they have for the victims of the spillage? By the way, this year, have we had people actually being displaced as opposed to, I know that NADMO tried to do some interventions earlier so that it's the farmlands alone that would be affected, if anything at all. What do you know about that?
For now, fortunately, torrential rains have spared us. I think it was only on Monday. We had some downpour.
Okay.
So what happens is, if the spillage comes with torrential rain, then people are most likely to be displaced.
Okay.
But for now, except those who have built closer to the white water, they may be at the verge of, being displaced. But for that now, we've not had any reports as the persons being displaced.
All right. Okay.
My interaction with NADMO was that we were going to deploy the boats along the white water to assist persons. But now they are not talking about relief. And that is also the problem with the farmers. NADMO comes in with relief when persons are displaced. But from the farmers' perspective, they are looking at support for them to engage in dry season farming, as lost most of their farm produce to the flood water.
Okay. So support in terms of irrigation systems, silos and other interventions that can help them store after they've harvested, before the rains come, right?
Sure. That is what they are appealing to government to, because they've lost everything to the floodwaters. So they just don't have anything to feed on as they transit into the dry season. And so for them, if government can assist them with subsidized fertilizer and farm inputs, especially seeds, improved seeds and maybe some agrochemicals, so they can go into dry season farming. What they do is that they just pump the water from the white water into the farm, so it's much easier. We don't really need a dam process. The water that would be left is what they pump to these farms, and then they go into dry season farms. So basically, that's the approach to that.
Okay. Frederick, before you go, apart from the farmers, in terms of children of school-going age, access to health facilities, what's that front looking like?
Fortunately, for most of the communities, you would not need to cross the white water to access the what it means that is within the catchment areas where they live. So necessarily crossing the white water is a no-no, except for farming activities.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Frederick.
Thank you.
Great.
All right. So we've been speaking with our colleague Frederick Awuni, who is our correspondent in the Upper East region. Yeah, and so this is the update that we have for you. Hopefully we're going to get to speak to somebody from NADMO as well and delve into that. But I think that we need to look at some more practical, less expensive ways of dealing with this problem. I think the big ticket things are, we are always going gung-ho about those ones, and then we get stuck along the way because you can't find money to finish it, finance it, and all that. I'm just wondering to myself that if we decided to excavate land and create dams, right? Simple dams.
But that was a plan, though.
Well, simple.
That was a plan.
Simple dams that are, labor intensive, bringing a lot of people. The communities who are building the dams, helping to build the dam, can benefit financially from the work that they are doing to build the dams. You have maybe 20, 30 of such smaller dams along the river. Then these become like catchment points, so then they soak in the water as the spillage comes through. Of course, in the dry seasons, they may dry up, but at least they are there as catchment points whenever you have this spillage happen. I don't know. I mean, I just think that we should think a bit more creatively, and let's stop this whole money-intensive type of projects that we always, jumping on those ones as if that's the,
I mean, those ones are important, but you have short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans for any project or any solution-oriented, endeavor that you're trying to do. But I don't know. Oh dear. It's just frustrating. It's human beings we are talking about. Human beings and their livelihood. It's not a movie that somebody has gone to script. It's human beings we're talking about.
Let's go back to the region. We're talking to the Upper East Regional Director for NADMO, Jerry Asamani. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
All right. Welcome to Breakfast Daily. Now, so far, what's the situation like? What's the situation report you can bring us on the lives and livelihoods of the peoples of Upper East?
I think it is common knowledge that the water was spilled and on the 1st of this month, the effects that we are now seeing is the spread out of the water into the land, the farms. So right now, most farms along the river bank, that is the White Poster, is really flooded. And that is the problem, because we have this water that is all over, that has compelled farmers to do premature harvesting. So all that, the crops that were not harvested before the spillage are now crops that people cannot get into the land to harvest. The place is really, really serious. The previous years, the spread out of the water, the limit this time has extended so much into far away from the banks, and that is the serious nature of the distance. But presently, we have not yet recorded any death in Upper East or life generally in terms of animals and human beings. That is what we have not yet experienced.
Yeah.
But yes, the effects are so enormous that people are moved to higher grounds.
Are you suggesting that more water has been spilled this year than usual?
Yes, more water has been spilled. Yes, I cannot calculate the volume, but yes, more water has been spilled this year.
Okay, and do you know if there was prior communication from the Burkinabe side as to the fact that they may need to spill more water this year than usual?
What they normally would do is, depending on their anticipation of more rains from the upper deck of their dams, if they are to receive more water, then yes, the spillage is relatively to the weather conditions over there. But yes, as at now, the spillage is still going on in even higher volumes. So we expect that farmers really, even far away from the river bank, should really start preparing, because the spillage is ongoing, and we really anticipate more spread out effect of the water.
Okay. Is there any intervention that NADMO is going to do for the farmers at this time? Is there anything that you can do?
Yes, the interventions are always the usual preparing for the relief phase. What we are doing now, NADMO is doing now, is the data collection point, and then ready for the search and rescue phase. We have the rapid response team that is codenamed Tenderboat that has come, and they are stationed in Walwale. Walwale is more a central system that can approach both northeast, upper east, and upper west.
Okay.
So they are here with their swimmers, and then the boats, rapid boats, search and rescue, torchlights, and all that. So yes, they are ready to do that. That's one intervention we are set up with. As for the relief aspect, as it is now, fortunately, this is a harvesting period. Some maize or corn, they are harvesting, granules, they are harvesting. So on the part of relief items, it is a bit not demanding as it is now, because of the harvesting that is going on.
But a lot of people are going to lose crops because they are at the time they should be harvesting, they are getting flooded.
They are losing a lot, because those are the areas that really provide vegetables, granules, corn, and all that. So when these areas are affected, the crop economy will definitely suffer it. But what we are doing is that, remember, NADMO is a coordinating body, and we are in collaboration or in partnership with the agri sector, the health sector, the army, the police, and all that. So what the agri sector is doing now is trying to get us data on the number of acreage of farmlands that have been affected, the crops that have been affected, and they can do the estimation of the economic effects of the floods on the farms.
Okay.
So right now, that is what we are going, not until we capture data
we cannot really move seriously.
Prepare with relief for them, yeah. Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We've been speaking with Jerry Asamani, who is the Upper East Regional Coordinator for NADMO. Yeah, so, you know, I find it, maybe it's my overestimation of NADMO's capacity. But Georgia, you see, also made mention of the same thing, that NADMO is really just a coordinating body.
Yeah.
You know, and so they are not necessarily equipped per se to do some of the interventions that one would imagine, that you say national disaster management. You know, I don't understand, because if you say national disaster management, you imagine that they're going to be a lot more equipped to do things, as opposed to...
Well, over the years, what have we done to equip NADMO?
Being a coordinating body. Yeah.
What have we done to equip NADMO?
Yeah, well...
You know? But look, I mean, let me just say, so regional ministers of all the regions, and then so from Savannah to Upper East, Upper West, Northeast, all the regions that are typically affected by the spillage of the Bagre Dam year in, year out. Okay, so regional ministers, one. Ministry of Agric, right? Ministry of Works and Housing, I've listed them all. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, because we are dealing with the livelihoods of people, and that falls squarely within your purview. The Finance Ministry, because we are talking about money.
Nobody can move without money.
The Ministry of Health, look at all that water, stagnant water, waterborne diseases. Those things are going to come on the back of this. And then the Ministry of Interior, because it is a security threat to have that kind of thing sitting there every year. Between now and next year, this time, in good time, meet, plan, do whatever you need to do to make sure that at least next year we're seeing a mitigation of this situation. We can't be having this conversation for 30 years. Why?
Yeah, we can't. You know.
Plan, sit down, do something. You have the mandate according to our laws and our statutes. It's your job, it's your duty. So come together and do something about it. These Ghanaians, they don't live in another country.
They're here with us.
Or in a part of the country that is unauthorized. They are here with us. Indeed, some of them are farming food that we eat. Ministries, ministers, come together and do something about it. And we'll be making sure that we're following up on whether or not you are.
All right. Well, there's a very serious situation that's also happening. Of course, we've talked about what's going on in the Upper East, but we have a situation that's going on. There's a rabies case and an alert that has come from the Ghana Health Service. And we want to bring you what it is the Ghana Health Service has said. Abby, you want to read
Yes,
that?
of course. So this is coming on, like you said, from the Ghana Health Service, and it's the Regional Health Directorate of Kumasi, and Rabies Cases and Death Alert. That's the title, Rabies Cases and Deaths Alert. The Regional Health Directorate brings to the notice of all health facilities a rise in confirmed outbreak of rabies cases and deaths in 3 districts in the Ashanti region. As of Monday, 12 September 2022, the region had recorded a total of 4 confirmed cases and 1 probable case. The cases were reported from Asante Akim South, Bosumche, and Kwabre East. The case fatality rate was 100%. That means everybody who was infected died. Public health actions to be undertaken are enhance community or public sensitization on rabies, improve case search for rabies in the facilities, follow up and treat all cases of dog bites, liaise with veterinary officers in your districts for dog vaccination activities. The case definition of human rabies, suspected case, is a person with 1 or more of the following: headache, neck pain, nausea, fever, fear of water, anxiety, agitation, abnormal tingling sensations or pain at the wound site when contact with a rabid animal is suspected. And for confirmed cases, a suspected case that is laboratory confirmed. Kindly circulate to all. So this is signed by Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrang. He's the Regional Director of Health, the Health Service in the Ashanti region. So let's take note. The Ashanti region doesn't exist in isolation of other regions. People walk around, people are traveling. Be mindful of what is going on. And if you see or experience any of the symptoms that have been outlined, please do visit a health facility, especially if you know you've come into contact with a dog or any kind of animal, you got a bite or something of this sort. Please make sure that you visit a health facility.
Yeah, and it's not only dogs.
No.
You have to be reminded, it's not only dogs. Insects too.
All sorts of animals and, you know.
Yeah.
So
Bats
please,
and other insects
very necessary.
It,
but we'll be bringing you more on this. I'm sure as time progresses in the days that come, we'll hear more from the health facilities, health outfits across the country, and then we can know exactly what's happening and how we can stay safe. Well, let's get back on the Citi Business Olympics train. We have a company that's going to be participating in the Citi Business Olympics 2022, a company that we all know and love, really, especially if you live in the southern part of Ghana. So